And we are live. What is going on, everybody? Thank you all for joining me for this early morning edition of last night's WWE dual-branded pay-per-view from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Of course, I'm talking about Extreme Rules 2018, a show that had some ups and downs that overall, by the end of the night, left me feeling okay. I watched it. Was it really, really bad? In my opinion, no. Was it really, really good? No. So to me, it's a C-plus show. A show that I felt like was okay. It had some good matches. There were a couple matches that I liked. And there was some stuff that I just felt like, why are we doing this? Feels like a waste of time. Yada, yada, yada. But on the positive, I got there at 7. Got out by 10:30-ish. So we finished early. We didn't go past 11. That was my one concern going into the show. I was like, will Extreme Rules go past 11? It didn't. Thank God it didn't. Like I said, just sitting there for 4 hours is rough enough. Makes me yearn for the days of 3-hour shows and 2-hour shows. And like I said, less to me is always more. And I think that clearly, by the end of the night, affected the crowd. Because there were some of them, not me. I didn't go down for the pre-show. I couldn't do it. Like I said, 4 hours was enough for me. Like I said, I'm not going to sit there for 5. 5 hours, no way. So as far as my experience going to Extreme Rules as a fan, had some nice seats. I'm going to be uploading a video soon, so stay tuned for that. Just, giving you a perspective of where I saw it. Or sat, took a ton of great pictures and videos and all that stuff. So as far as a live experience goes, for the most part, I enjoyed it. And the arena was close to being sold out. It was much better attendance than the last pay-per-view they had here in Pittsburgh, which was, of course, the horribly done Roadblock End of the Line. That's a show that I wish, in Men in Black, when you had one of those clickers that you could just erase your memory, I wish somebody would just erase my memory of that show. So this was nowhere near as bad as Roadblock. Don't get me wrong there. But to me, I enjoyed Money in the Bank more. So to me, it kind of falls in between Backlash and Money in the Bank. I thought Money in the Bank was a better show overall. I thought Backlash was a worse show overall. And you could fit Extreme Rules right in between these two shows, in my opinion. So with all that being said, let's get into the results, because that's why you're here to watch. So we'll talk about the pre-show, which I didn't have a chance to watch because I was, of course, driving to the arena. But we'll talk about it here anyway. We got Andrade Cien Almas with Zelina Vega in his corner, taking on Sin Cara in a rematch from SmackDown Live this past Tuesday. Almas dropped Sin Cara with the Hammerlock DDT for the win. So I'm happy to say Almas with back-to-back wins, hopefully building him up for maybe a United States Championship match down the line. We'll see, but happy to see Almas with 2 wins in a row here after being off TV for quite a while, probably due to Sin Cara being injured, so they didn't have any real plans for him, so yeah, there you go. Heard they had a nice little match here on the pre-show. We had a tables match, The New Day versus Sanity, which, honestly, I kept saying this when I saw the card. I'm like, this should have been on the main show. And Finn Balor, Baron Corbin, sorry, a big fan of Finn, but that match should have been on the pre-show. You flip them, put the match with a stipulation, with an Extreme Rules stipulation. Gotta hype that up for the show, even though I still feel the Extreme Rules pay-per-view to me doesn't need to exist. I'm not a big fan of gimmick, pay-per-views, Hell in a Cell, Extreme Rules, TLC. The only one I could kind of deal with is the Elimination Chamber, because that at least, sets up for WrestleMania. But be that as it may, New Day versus Sanity here. Sanity, right team went over here. Eric Young elbow drops Kofi Kingston through the table, and Sanity picks up the win. So, right team went over here. Now, let's get into the main card, where I actually was in my seat live at PPG Paints Arena for Extreme Rules. And if you're watching, guys, live, I want to say thank you. Be sure to participate in the live chat. Let me know your thoughts on Extreme Rules as we go match by match. So let's talk about the Raw Tag Team Championship match. Interesting decision to open with this match. Woken Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt versus the B Team. Now, when Wyatt and Bo Dallas were in the ring for the first time together, crowd popped pretty big for that. They wanted to see Bo Dallas and Bray Wyatt go at it. And that was something that I was looking forward to. But of course, Dallas tagged in Curtis Axel. And then eventually, we got some action going here, some tags. Matt Hardy gets in there looking for the twist of fate. Bray Wyatt hits Bo Dallas with the Uranagi. It looks like they're going to set up for their finish. Axel's able to distract them. On the outside, Dallas hits a Hangman's neckbreaker on Matt Hardy for the win. And the B Team, that's right, you heard me correctly, the B Team are your new Raw Tag Team Champions. That is certainly something that I did not see coming out of this pay-per-view. I thought easy win for Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt, but B Team surprising to pick up the win here. They're celebrating. They're going crazy. Happy for Dallas and Axel, but I don't think this is going to last too long. I could easily see them losing possibly tomorrow night on Raw. I think they're going to be transitional champions, and I could see somebody like, they'll put their titles on the line for anybody in the back. We're so happy, we don't give a shit, and out come the Authors of Pain, and they could just come out and destroy them, and then you have new Raw Tag Team Champions. Don't be surprised if something like that happens, but nice moment here for the B Team. Decent opener, I have to say. Backstage, we have Kurt Angle talking about Paul Heyman, who said that Brock Lesnar is not interested in returning, but Angle has an ultimatum. Finally, thank God, we have an ultimatum for our reigning, defending. Have you seen him? I almost forgot who he was. The undisputed Universal Champion of the world. Angle said he is fed up. Oh, believe me, Kurt, we are fed up. Lesnar has these options. He can either agree to terms for his next title match and show up on Raw. And if he doesn't show up on Raw, he will be stripped of the Universal Championship. And as soon as Kurt Angle said this, got one of the biggest pops of the night. We're doing yes, yes, yes chants. It was great. Like, please, just, what should happen? And people have floated this idea out there. You should have Lesnar show up on Raw. Braun Strowman's Money in the Bank, right? He's Mr. Monster in the Bank. I'm not finished with you yet. Have Mr. Monster in the Bank cash in on Brock Lesnar and win the Universal Championship. Just be done with it and move the hell on. That's what I would do. And that would be a great moment, certainly on Raw. So what will Brock do tonight? Well, we're going to have to tune into Raw to find out. The Universal Champion is going to actually be on Monday Night Raw. I'll believe it when I see it. That's all I got to say. I will believe it when I see it. Or should I say, I will believe it when I see it. We then move on here to our next match. Finn Balor, Baron Corbin. Decent match here. Balor bumping around here for Corbin. Got a nice pop from the crowd here. Corbin, when he hits that deep six, I always love when he hits that move. It just looks really nice. Balor was able to reverse into a powerbomb, into a double foot stomp. Reverse powerbomb into a double foot stomp. Hit the shotgun drop kick. Corbin puts Balor up on top. Looking to set up the end of days. Balor is able to turn it into the small package for the win. A visibly irate Baron Corbin, or should I say Constable Corbin, or as I like to call him now, Constipated Corbin. That may be his new gimmick one day. Vince. He'll have the shits before every match, and he won't be able to compete. I don't want to give these people ideas. I'm just saying. Decent match. Finn picked up the win here with a small package. Leads to me assuming that this feud is not over, so whatever. I'm really enamored with it. It's a decent match. It was what it was. Nothing really bad, nothing really amazing. It was just kind of there. Backstage, the Bludgeon Brothers attack Team Hell No, and Eric Rowan crushes Kane's leg in a door with a mallet, leading to us to speculate on what's going to happen with Team Hell No. Is Kane going to be able to compete? Is Bryan going to have to find a new partner? We'll talk about that later on in the review. Easily my least... Oh, this was bad. The match I liked least on this show. The worst match on this show was the SmackDown Women's Championship match. Carmella with James Ellsworth, who was in a shark cage versus Asuka. Now, I'm just saying right here. I floated this idea. You're in PPG Paints Arena. You're in the home of the Pittsburgh Penguins. As a big Pittsburgh Penguins fan, and I know James Ellsworth, if you're listening, you are a Washington Capitals fan. If you wanted to get a lot of heat, what I would have done is come out wearing an Alexander Ovechkin jersey. They are the reigning, defending, undisputed Stanley Cup champions of the world. They beat the Penguins. I would have booed the hell out of you. He didn't do that, but I thought that would have been an easy way to get some heat. So they put Ellsworth in the shark cage. And at first I was like, why is the shark cage so low? Well, we found out why it was when eventually Ellsworth, he threw a spray bottle into the ring, tried to throw Carmella a chain, and Ellsworth picks the lock. He's able to get out of the cage, but his foot gets caught. He's hanging upside down. Asuka begins to beat the shit out of him. And then Asuka suffers from dumb babyface syndrome. Shout out to Salt Monster, sounds off from his podcast. That's where I got that from. Great stuff here. So Asuka is now a dumb babyface. She begins to attack Ellsworth, and she's standing there. She's looking at him. She's all fired up. She's ready to kick his ass, and I'm assuming she's waiting for Carmella, who was a little bit, to me, seemed late on her cue there to attack Asuka. Asuka's just standing there. And instead of worrying about Carmella, she pushes Asuka into the cage and pins her. Yep. That match sucked. So Asuka has now lost twice to Carmella. I was hoping here Asuka might win the title. You know? Ellsworth would stay. I mean, what's the point of the shark cage if you're going to get out of it? Seriously, what's the point? And then after the match, Asuka beats down Ellsworth, puts him in the Asuka lock. But to me, it's just like, well, that's nice, but you lost again. So I don't know what the hell they're doing with Asuka. She loses at WrestleMania, and then she loses to Carmella at Money in the Bank, and then she loses here. Honestly, I would go with Becky Lynch at this point. Have Becky Lynch take the title off Carmella, because Asuka getting another shot, I don't know. I have no idea what they're doing anymore with Asuka. So, whatever. United States Championship match. Jeff Hardy defending his title against Shinsuke Nakamura. So Nakamura comes out before the match starts. He low blows Jeff Hardy, the king of low blows. Nutcracker Nakamura. You heard it right. The ref asks Hardy, can you go? Are you able to go, Jeff? He says yes. Ding, ding, ding. Nakamura hits Kinshasa. 1, 2, 3. New United States Championship like that. United States Champion, in Shinsuke Nakamura. So that was a surprise. We knew Jeff Hardy going into this was injured. He was banged up. So we knew, match may not go that long. I certainly didn't see this being a squash and Nakamura just hitting the Kinshasa like that. The real surprise, though, afterwards, Randy Orton returned. And Nakamura is standing up on the commentary desk. And, they lock eyes. Orton turns around and hits Jeff Hardy in the nuts. And he just leaves. So, rest in peace to Jeff Hardy's family jewels. They really took a hurting tonight. So, does this mean Randy Orton is a heel? Where does this mean, what does this mean going forward? Does this mean we get a triple threat match at SummerSlam? On SmackDown, we're going to get Hardy versus Nakamura in a rematch. So, I guess we'll find out then. There you go. Steel cage match. Braun Strowman versus Kevin Owens. I like this match. At first, it was all Strowman. He was just launching Kevin Owens over and over again into the steel cage. One more time, we were chanting. That was fun. He sets up for the power slam. Owens is able to escape. And Owens, I'll be goddamned. Owens hit Braun Strowman with a Stone Cold Stunner. Stone Cold. That's right, you hold me. Stone Cold Steve Austin. What? So that was nice to see the stunner. I was like, oh yeah, the stunner. That's awesome. Tries to get out of the cage. Strowman stops him. Owens hits super kicks on Strowman. Handcuffs him to the ring ropes. Begins to taunt him as he's climbing out. Does a suck it chant. He blows him a kiss goodbye. Reminded me of CM Punk blowing Vince McMahon a kiss goodbye. And this pisses Strowman off. It enrages him. He breaks the handcuffs. He follows Kevin Owens up to the top of the cage and chokeslams him. That's right, you heard me. Chokeslams him off the top of the cage through the commentary desk. I have footage of this that I shot that was honestly a better view than what I heard WWE shot. At least Michael Cole wasn't, in the way. in my camera view, so I heard they botched that pretty nicely. And the visual of Strowman standing on top of the cell, with a cage, excuse me, I'm thinking of Mick Foley Undertaker in Hell in a Cell. It kind of reminded me of this, which happened in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So Kevin Owens technically wins the match, but Strowman didn't give a shit. I guess he just wanted to hurt Kevin Owens so badly, so he just threw him off. Strowman laughs, walks up the ramp. There you go. We then move on to our SmackDown Tag Team Championship match. The Bludgeon Brothers taking on Team Hell No, which originally started off as a 2-on-1 handicap match. Bryan was in there. Kane, of course, didn't come out till later on in the match. It was great to see Bryan. You know, he's doing all his stuff, you know, his drop kicks and Hurricane Rana to Luke Harper off the top rope, trying to get the S-lock locked in. Eventually in Harper and Rowan beating down Daniel Bryan. And Kane's music eventually hits. He comes down to the ring wearing a boot. So obviously he's dealing with some pain in his leg. Gets the tag. Hits a chokeslam to both Harper and Rowan. Bryan is able to get the tag in. Hits the missile drop kick off the top rope. Hit the yes kicks on Harper. Crowd's going nuts. Tries to go for the running knee. Eric Rowan breaks it up. And then they hit a doomsday device that is Harper and Rowan for the win. So to me, the match just kind of ended. And I was going, and I wanted more, and then it just kind of, well, match is over. Harper and Rowan win. I don't know how I feel about them as tag team champions. To me, they've been kind of underwhelming. Haven't really done much with them. And this match was okay. Now, from a live experience, it was great to see Daniel Bryan. I have not seen Daniel Bryan wrestle in over 3 years. The last time I saw him wrestle was Wade Barrett on an episode of Raw in March of 2015. And seeing him back in there, that was great for me as a fan. That was one reason why I went to the show. Match went 8 minutes, so there you go. It was what it was. It was an all right match. I guess Team Hell No is no more. One and done. I'm fine with that. You move Bryan on, maybe to a feud with Samoa Joe, The Miz, Andrade Cien Almas. You could do Nakamura. There are a number of opponents for Daniel Bryan. And I don't really have anything else to say about the match. Let's move on here, folks. We're moving on to our next match, which I actually thought was a good match. Roman Reigns versus Bobby Lashley. Now, first, crowd wasn't really into the match. They were trying to do the wave and beach ball crap and all that stuff. But once the match got going, I thought it picked up nicely. When Bobby Lashley went flying over the top rope, that was crazy. That was really, really crazy. I'm like, holy shit, man, did he really get some hang time there? And you just see him come crashing down to the floor. That certainly looked like it hurt. And then we move on to, where Lashley is able to counter Reigns' spear attempt into a spine buster, hits the delayed vertical suplex. Reigns able to kick out. Reigns hits the Superman punch on Lashley. Able to kick out of that for a near fall. Reigns looks like he's going to hit the spear. Lashley catches Reigns, hits the belly-to-belly suplex. Roman Reigns into the German announcer's table. That was a nice spot right there. He goes up top. Reigns Superman punches Lashley off the top. And Reigns gets a little cocky. He gets a little arrogant. This is my yard now. And, of course, that cockiness and arrogance cost him the match. And Bobby Lashley hits spear. Crowd goes nuts. I was surprised that Bobby Lashley won. I was happy about it. I was like, okay. You want to criticize his 15-2 MMA record, which looked extremely idiotic. I don't know why they had him say that on Raw. There you go, Bobby Lashley. Does that mean he is now the #1 contender for Brock Lesnar's Universal Championship? I guess we'll find out tonight on Raw. Yeah, I really thought it was a good match. It was a better match than I thought, based on my expectations and the build for this. Outside of that brawl that they had on Raw, I wasn't really enamored with the build-up between Reigns and Lashley. Extreme Rules match for the Raw Women's Championship. Alexa Bliss with Mickie James in her corner versus Nia Jax with Natalya in her corner. Of course, Ronda Rousey was seated at ringside. Got some of the biggest reactions of the night when they put Rowdy Ronda Rousey on the Titantron. So, to me, the match was what it was. I'm glad it was short and sweet and to the point. It only went 7 minutes and 30 seconds. The really only memorable spot outside of Ronda's involvement was when I believe it was, Nia Jax Gorilla Press slammed Alexa Bliss onto the trash can. I thought that was a pretty cool spot. Eventually, Mickie James looks like she's going to, use the trash can lid on Nia Jax. And Natalya attacks Mickie James. Eventually, Bliss and James beating down on Jax. Ronda jumps the barricade. She beats the crap out of Mickie James, launches her over the announcer's table. And then Rousey looks like she's going to get her hands on Alexa Bliss, but James hits Rousey with a kendo stick. Jax picks up Alexa Bliss for the Samoan drop. Mickie James hits Jax with a chair. Bliss DDTs Jax on the chair for the win. So obviously, to me, we know what direction this is headed in. Alexa Bliss versus Ronda Rousey, which I'm perfectly fine with. I think that spot when Ronda breaks Alexa Bliss's arm and she does that double jointed thing, I think that'll be really nice build. Alexa Bliss, the sneaky, wormy champion, always getting out of Dodge's way. She could talk a big game, but when it comes time, deep down, she's going to be afraid of stepping into the ring with Ronda Rousey come SummerSlam. So, in my opinion, right person won here. And now we set up for the one-on-one match, Ronda Rousey versus Alexa Bliss at SummerSlam. WWE Championship match, my pick for match of the night. AJ Styles versus Rusev. Rusev Day was extremely over here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I thought these two had a nice match here. Longest match of the outside of the Iron Man match. Second longest match of the show. Went 15 minutes and 35 seconds. A lot of great stuff here. AJ Styles trying to work over the leg of Rusev's, obviously to prevent him to set up the accolade, which eventually did come into play later on in the match. Really nice near fall attempts here when Rusev hit the Machka kick. And I thought, just for a second, I'm like, is Rusev actually going to win the WWE Championship? Of course, AJ kicks out. Eventually, when Rusev tries to set up that accolade, but of course his knee gives out, so he hits locks in a one-legged version of the accolade. Styles gets to the ropes. Aiden English has the turnbuckle pad exposed. Rusev goes headfirst into it. AJ hits a 450 springboard. Beautiful, beautiful move. Rusev kicks out. I thought that might be it. And then, of course, Styles drop kicks Aiden English, and AJ hits the phenomenal forearm for the win. So still, your WWE champion heading into SummerSlam, the phenomenal AJ Styles. Really good match. Really good showing for Rusev. Of course, AJ retains. Looking forward to seeing who his opponent will be at SummerSlam. But I really enjoyed this match. And looking back on it, maybe this should have closed. Or maybe Lashley and Rowan should have closed, based on how the crowd reacted. I feel maybe one of those two should have closed. Because next, we have the Iron Man match for the Intercontinental Championship. Dolph Ziggler versus Seth Rollins with Drew McIntyre in his corner. Match went 30 minutes and 10 seconds. I'll talk about the match here first. So early on, Rollins gets the first pinfall by rolling up Dolph Ziggler after hitting the buckle bomb. Rollins goes up 1-0. Then Rollins catches Ziggler with the curb stomp for another pin, goes up 2-0. Rollins is happy. He's playing to the crowd. McIntyre beats down Rollins, and the ref disqualifies Ziggler. So that gives Rollins a 3-0 edge against Ziggler. So we got all these falls early on in the match. Then Ziggler hits a super kick, and Rollins' lead is cut to 3-1. Then Ziggler misses another super kick. Rollins goes for a corner strike. He misses. Ziggler hits the zigzag for a 3-2 advantage. Then Ziggler ties things up. Ziggler is able to pin Rollins with his feet on the ropes, and we're all tied up here at 3-3. Eventually, moving on here, Ziggler is able to take the lead after he, let's see here. So Ziggler goes up here 4-4, or excuse me, 4-3. There were just so many, back and forth, so many pins. I was surprised that there were this many pins in this match, considering on Raw how long their match went without a pin. And out here, just within the first 10 to 15 minutes, we're at, 4-3, and then Rollins is able to make it 4-4. He hits super kick on Ziggler and hits the curb stomp, and we end in a tie. So, no winner. Kurt Angle's music hits. Angle says the match is going to restart. Sudden death, overtime. Next fall wins. And McIntyre appears out of nowhere, attacks Rollins, and Ziggler hits a zigzag for the win. So that was kind of like, oh, okay. Just like that. I mean, if Kurt was so intent on, we got to restart the match, we got to have a decisive finner. If he saw McIntyre attacking Ziggler, or Rollins, excuse me, why wouldn't he just come out and say, hey, you're out of here. You're banned from ringside. I don't want anything going wrong with this sudden death overtime. So to me, that really didn't make any sense. And as far as how I felt about the crowd, oh yeah. I know some people didn't mind it. And you can make the argument, yeah, it was a long night, especially for those of fans that went into the building at 6, didn't leave till 10:30. I didn't do that. I got there at 7 and left at 10:30. So really, I didn't feel that burned out like I thought I was going to. And they were doing the Royal Rumble chants. They were going 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. During the whole match. And at first I was like, oh, okay. It's kind of fun, Maybe they're going to do it for a minute or 2 minutes or 3 minutes or 4 minutes, 5, 6, 7. No, they did it the entire match. And maybe it didn't bother those of you. They're just having fun. They wanted to go home. I can't blame you. And I don't think the Iron Man match lived up to my expectations. And yeah, I agree. The shows, that's a problem. The shows are just way too damn. There's no need for a 1 hour pre-show when you have 4 hours. It's ridiculous. But I was getting annoyed with the crowd. Now, like I said, it probably wasn't as bad for you guys because you had annoying commentary to listen to. So what would you rather had? The Three Stooges on commentary or the crowd chants? To me, it just got to me by the end. I was just like, oh my God, will you guys just... I was trying to watch the match. I was trying to enjoy it. And then they just kept doing the chants. And then they took the clock off, which I think made things worse. So then they put the clock back up, and then it just kept going. And I was just like, this is just a cluster. So to the fans that started that chant, sorry. Actually, I'm not sorry. You know why? You know what happens when you annoy me with the Royal Rumble countdown chants? You know what happens? I'm sure you know what happens. You just made my list. So there you go. In the end, I win because I put those fans on the list. And if you're on the list, you're not getting off the list. Just ask Chris Jericho, the IWGP Intercontinental Champion. 10-time champion, man. So that was my thoughts on the crowd situation. And I'm not mad. If they put them on the list, doesn't matter. God, do that chant again. Do that chant. Yeah, I made a comment. If they tried that chant at a Penguin game, oh, that wouldn't fly at a Penguin. Can you imagine them doing that at a hockey game every minute during the period? Oh my God. If I tried to do that, I'd get heckled and booed. People would throw stuff at me. It would be great. I kind of want to try that now. But anyways, ending this review, I'm giving the show a C+. And that's probably from a live experience. But as far as being extreme, was this extreme? This didn't need to be extreme rules. This Could have been just another pay-per-view name. This doesn't need to be Extreme Rules. There was nothing extreme on this show. I went to the show, the IWC wrestling show, the night before, and I saw a street fight where there were thumbtacks, guys going through tables, using kendo sticks. It was freaking crazy. And I felt like that street fight that I saw at a local wrestling show here in Pittsburgh was more extreme than anything I got on Extreme Rules. Outside of the Kevin Owens spot, there was no need for this to be Extreme Rules. I'm sorry. Can we just do away with this pay-per-view gimmick? Okay. So, yeah, guys, that pretty much is my thoughts on Extreme Rules. Leave your comments down below in the comments section for what you thought of Extreme Rules. And be sure to click my like and subscribe button here on youtube.com/DanielGuyza412 for all my latest thoughts. Be sure to follow me on Twitter at DanielGuyza412. And be sure to check out my Facebook page, Daniel Guyza 1994. Facebook.com/DanielGuyza1994. So until then, guys, thanks for watching this video. And that's it. I'll catch you guys later.